Nadia's pride has already brought her face to face with shame. But where will it lead her next? Will she truly humble herself and change, or is she secretly planning something far more dangerous? Let's find out together. The room was still shaking from the echo of Kelvin's fist on the table. Plates rattled, glasses trembled, but nothing shook more than Nadia's heart. She was on her knees, her tears streaming freely, her makeup running down her cheeks. "Kelvin, please," she cried, clutching at his trousers desperately. "Don't leave me like this. Don't let me go. I will change. I promise. Just give me one more chance." Her sobs filled the grand living room, but Kelvin's eyes were hard. He stood over her, breathing heavily, his chest rising and falling like waves in a storm. His mind was torn. He loved this woman with passion, but in front of him stood the other woman he loved most in the world. His mother, Kelvin's mother, watched silently, her wrinkled hands clasped tightly together. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried the pain of generations. Slowly she spoke, her voice soft but filled with weight. "Nadia," she said firmly, "I cannot trust you. You are too proud, too arrogant. My son may love you now, but a woman like you will destroy his life one day. You have shown your heart already, and I cannot close my eyes to it." Nadia's lips trembled. She turned to the older woman, crawling forward on her knees. "Mama, please, forgive me. I didn't know it was you. I was foolish, I was blinded. But I swear before God I will change. Just give me one chance, only one. Don't take Kelvin away from me. Don't destroy my life." But Kelvin's mother did not flinch. Her gaze remained steady. "Child, you cannot beg me with words when your heart is filled with pride. I have lived long enough to know that the proud only bow when they are caught. And once the eyes of others turn away, they rise back in arrogance. You might hurt my son, and that I cannot allow." Her words cut Nadia deeper than a knife. She beat her chest with her fists, wailing loudly. "No, please, don't say that. Kelvin, look at me. You know I love you. You know I cannot live without you. I will be better for you, for your mother, for our future. Don't let me go. Don't let me die." Kelvin's throat tightened, his eyes filled with tears. He looked at his mother, then at the woman on the floor clinging to his legs. His heart was divided in two. One side burned with love for Nadia, the other side bled with loyalty to the woman who raised him. He whispered, almost choking on his words, "God, what do I do?" The air was heavy, every second stretching like eternity. The maids at the doorway froze, not daring to breathe. Even the ticking of the golden wall clock sounded louder, like judgment. For the first time in his life, Kelvin stood at a crossroad no man could envy, to choose between the woman he loved and the mother who gave him life. And in that moment, his tears fell. Kelvin's tears slid down his cheeks, but his mother saw more than tears. She saw the storm inside him. She knew her son's heart was trapped between love and loyalty, and it tore her soul apart to watch him suffer. She sighed deeply, her chest rising with the weight of generations. Then, with calm dignity, she placed her hand on Kelvin's shoulder. "My son," she whispered gently, "come with me. Let us speak alone." Kelvin nodded weakly. He pulled himself from Nadia's desperate grip and followed his mother into the hallway. The maids exchanged glances, their hearts pounding at what might happen next. Inside the quiet hallway, Kelvin's mother turned to him. Her eyes glistened with tears she had fought hard to hide. She cupped his face with her old hands. "Kelvin, my child," she said softly, "I know you love her. I can see it in your eyes. I can feel it in your pain, and I do not want to be the reason for your heartbreak." Kelvin blinked, his lips trembling. "Mama, I don't know what to do. I love you more than anything, but I also love her. I don't want to lose either of you." His mother shook her head slowly. "Love is not blind, my son. Love must have wisdom. This woman you brought into my house today, she is proud, she is arrogant, and pride will destroy any home it enters." Kelvin's chest tightened. "So, what do I do?" She paused, her words heavy with both warning and mercy. "Give her one chance, only one. Let her prove herself. But listen to me carefully, Kelvin. Be alert. Do not trust blindly. Watch her actions. not her tears. For the proud may kneel, but their heart often remains standing. Kelvin swallowed hard, tears threatening again. He wanted to believe Nadia could change. He wanted to believe love was stronger than pride. His mother kissed his forehead tenderly. "I pray I am wrong, my son. But if I am right, then may God open your eyes before it is too late." They walked back into the living room. Nadia was still on her knees, her makeup ruined, her hands trembling. The moment she saw Kelvin, she crawled forward quickly, holding his leg again. "Kelvin, please, don't leave me. I will change, I swear. I will respect your mother. I will respect everyone. Just don't throw me away." Kelvin looked down at her, his jaw tight, his heart bleeding. His voice came out low but sharp. "You have one chance, Nadia. Just one. Don't ever think you will get away every time. If you fail again, if you ever disrespect my mother or anyone else, that will be the end of us. Do you understand?" "Yes," Nadia cried, hugging him tightly. Thank you. I promise I will change myself for you. I will be better. I will never hurt you again." She wept against his chest. Kelvin held her weakly, torn between hope and doubt. But in her heart, Nadia whispered something no one could hear. "I will never forget this humiliation. She made me kneel. She will pay." And with that, the real game began. That night, after Kelvin dropped her back at her apartment, Nadia stood before her mirror in silence. The diamonds around her neck still sparkled, but her eyes burned like fire. She tore off her wig, threw her purse on the floor, and hissed bitterly. "That old woman," she spat, pacing the room like a caged lioness. "She made me kneel. Me, Nadia. She made me cry, beg, humiliate myself in front of Kelvin. She thinks she has won? No, never. I will show her that I am not a woman to be mocked." Her fists clenched, her voice lowered into a vow. "I will take revenge, but not with shouting, not with fighting. No. I will smile, I will pretend. And slowly I will turn her own son against her. That will be my sweetest victory." The next morning, Nadia transformed herself. She wore a soft dress, tied her hair back simply, and walked into Kelvin's mansion with a fake, gentle smile. She greeted the maids politely, even helping one of them carry a tray. "Good morning, Mama," she said sweetly, bowing slightly before Kelvin's mother. "I hope you slept well. Please forgive me for the past. I want to be your daughter, not your enemy." Kelvin's mother raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Her spirit warned her this sweetness was sugar-coated. Yet for Kelvin's sake, she accepted the greetings with a faint nod. Kelvin, however, was overjoyed. His heart swelled as he saw Nadia being humble. He hugged her tightly. "This is the woman I know. This is my love. Thank you for changing." Nadia smiled against his chest, but her eyes glowed with secret fire. The first test came during a family lunch 2 days later. Kelvin had invited his cousin and a few close relatives. The dining table was heavy with food. Nadia, pretending to be graceful, volunteered to serve dishes. She leaned close to one maid and hissed under her breath, "Stupid girl, move faster before I slap you in front of everyone." The maid's hands trembled, but Nadia's smile never faded. She carried a bowl of rice to the table like an angel. But when one of the relatives complained about the late service, Nadia gasped dramatically. "Ah, Mama, please don't be too harsh on the staff. I know you told them to rush, but they are trying their best." Kelvin's cousin looked surprised. Kelvin frowned slightly and turned to his mother. "Mum, did you shout at them again?" His mother's eyes widened. "What? I never said anything." But Nadia touched Kelvin's arm quickly, tears filling her eyes. "Please, don't blame her. I understand. She's only worried the food would be late. It's not her fault." The table fell silent. Kelvin looked at his mother suspiciously. For the first time, a seed of doubt entered his heart, and Nadia smiled secretly, sipping her wine. The game had begun. A week later, Kelvin prepared for an important business dinner. One of his wealthy associates from abroad was flying into Lagos, and the gathering was meant to strengthen their partnership. Invitations were sent to all his close allies and family friends. Kelvin reminded everyone in the house how critical it was. The morning of the event, Nadia sat in the living room, painting her nails lazily while Kelvin's mother supervised the staff. She had double-checked everything. The flowers, the chairs, the catering, even the guest list. By evening, the mansion glowed with lights. Cars rolled into the compound and guests filled the hall. Kelvin, dressed in a tailored suit, moved confidently among them. Nadia stood proudly by his side, dazzling in a golden gown. But as the night went on, Kelvin noticed someone was missing. "Where is Chief Oho?" he muttered, glancing around the room. He confirmed his attendance. Nadia's lips curled faintly. She tilted her head with mock innocence. "Darling, maybe the invitation never reached him." Kelvin frowned. "Impossible. My mother said she handled the guest list herself." Nadia sighed softly, her voice dripping with concern. Maybe Mama misplaced it? You know she has been stressed lately. Please don't be angry with her. It could happen to anyone." Kelvin's eyes narrowed slightly. He shook his head. "But my mother is careful. She never misses details like this." Nadia touched his arm gently, her eyes filling with fake sadness. "Please, Kelvin, don't be upset. I don't want there to be tension tonight. Maybe it was a mistake. But promise me you won't scold Mama too much. She is only human." Kelvin breathed deeply, but his mind began to twist. Could his mother really have forgotten? It didn't sound like her, but Nadia's words replayed in his mind, soft yet persuasive. Later that night, when the last guest had left, Kelvin turned to his mother. His voice carried a sharp edge. "Mom, why didn't you send Chief Oho his invitation?" His mother looked shocked. "What? I did, Kelvin. I personally checked it. Perhaps there was a delay with the courier." Kelvin shook his head slowly, disappointment clouding his face. "Mom, this is important to me. I can't afford mistakes like this." The older woman's lips trembled. "My son, I would never let you down. Please believe me." But before she could say more, Nadia slipped her hand into Kelvin's and whispered, "Darling, let it go. Mama is already feeling guilty. Please don't make her cry." Kelvin looked at Nadia's pleading eyes, then back at his mother. His heart tilted again, suspicion settling where trust once lived. The night ended coldly. Kelvin's mother sat alone in her room, tears rolling down her face. For the first time, she felt the bond with her son begin to crack. And in the next room, Nadia smiled at her reflection, whispering, "One more step, closer to victory." The days that followed were uneasy inside Kelvin's mansion. His mother's heart grew heavier, while Nadia's smile grew wider. Every step she took was calculated, every word chosen like poison wrapped in honey. One evening, Kelvin returned from a board meeting, his face tired but glowing with pride. "The company is expanding into Abuja," he announced. "I want to start distributing some shares to people I trust." Nadia's eyes lit up instantly. "Shares," she repeated softly, her mind racing. "Darling, that's wonderful. Maybe I could help too. I can handle some of your investments. It will make me feel closer to your world." Kelvin smiled faintly but hesitated. "Nadia, it's not something small. Running shares means responsibility. It's not just about owning wealth, it's about protecting it." At that very moment, his mother entered the room quietly. She had overheard the last words. Her voice was calm but firm. "Kelvin, listen to me. Be careful where you place your trust. Business shares are not gifts of love. They are weapons in the wrong hands." Nadia's heart skipped, but her face stayed soft. She clutched Kelvin's arm and whispered, "Mama doesn't want me to grow, can't you see? She thinks I am not capable. She always sees me as a threat." Kelvin turned to his mother, his brows furrowing. "Mama, why would you say that? Nadia is only asking to help." The older woman's eyes pleaded, "Because I know this world, Kelvin. I have lived long enough to see how greed destroys families. Protect yourself, protect your legacy." But Nadia burst into tears suddenly, her sobs sharp and loud. "You see? She hates me. No matter how I try, I can never be good enough for her. She will never accept me. Maybe I should just leave so you and your mother can live happily without me." Kelvin's chest tightened as he held her trembling shoulders. "Nadia, stop, please. Don't talk like that." He turned back to his mother, his voice sharper now. "Mama, why can't you trust her? She has changed. She loves me. Why do you always see the worst in her?" His mother shook her head slowly, tears brimming. "Kelvin, open your eyes. Love without wisdom is blindness." Do not hand your empire to someone who has not yet proved her character." But her words only deepened Kelvin's frustration. He raised his voice for the first time at her. "Enough, Mama. You don't want me to be happy. You keep trying to drive her away from me. But I have decided Nadia will have a share, and nothing will change my mind." The decision hit his mother like a hammer. Her lips quivered, her heart breaking into pieces. She watched her son sign over shares of his empire into Nadia's name, his pen scratching across the paper like thunder. Nadia kissed his cheek in gratitude, her tears still glistening, but behind her smile, victory was dancing. From the moment Kelvin signed those shares over, Nadia's pride soared higher than the clouds. She walked around the mansion like a queen crowned by heaven itself. Servants bowed, guests admired, and she no longer bothered to hide her arrogance. Kelvin, blinded by love, poured even more treasures at her feet. A brand new luxury car arrived in the compound within days. Diamonds, gold, designer gowns, anything Nadia pointed at, Kelvin bought without hesitation. "Darling," he told her one evening, handing her the keys to a sleek Range Rover, "you deserve everything. You've stood by me, you've changed. This is my way of showing you my trust." Nadia hugged him tightly, her tears flowing, but deep inside, her heart whispered cruelly, "Yes, trust me more, my love. Trust me until you cannot see anything else but me." While Nadia flourished, Kelvin's mother withered. Alone in her room, she often sat by the window, staring at the moon, with tears streaming down her wrinkled cheeks. She prayed silently. "Oh Lord, please open my son's eyes. Show him the truth before it is too late. Don't let this woman destroy him." But the more she prayed, the further Kelvin drifted. Nadia had mastered the art of sugar-coated words. In front of him, she appeared humble, respectful, even pious. She would kneel to greet him, laugh softly when his mother entered, and call her Mama with fake sweetness. Yet the moment Kelvin left the room, her eyes turned cold as stone. The maids knew the truth but dared not speak. They only whispered among themselves, pitying their madam who was slowly being cut out of her own son's heart. One evening, unable to hold the pain anymore, Kelvin's mother entered his study. He was seated at his desk, Nadia beside him flipping through jewelry magazines. "Kelvin, my son," she began, her voice trembling but steady. "Please listen to me, I beg you. This path you are walking is dangerous. Nadia is not who you think she is. Open your eyes before you lose everything." Kelvin stiffened, anger flashing in his eyes. "Mama, not again. Please, I have had enough of this. Why can't you let us be happy?" His mother's tears fell. She clasped her hands together desperately. "Because I love you, my child. I cannot watch you destroy yourself. You are my only son. Listen to me." But Kelvin cut her off sharply, his voice rising like thunder. "Stop poisoning my mind. Nadia is my wife-to-be. She is the woman I have chosen. Accept her or stay away from me." The words sliced through her heart like a knife. She staggered back, her lips trembling, her eyes wide in shock. For the first time in his life, her son had shouted at her, all because of another woman. In the corner, Nadia lowered her face to hide her smirk. She had won another battle, and his mother, broken and humiliated, sank slowly into a chair, whispering through her tears, "Oh God, my son is slipping away from me." Weeks passed, and Kelvin decided to host a lavish dinner for his closest friends and business partners. The mansion buzzed with activity. Expensive cars lined the driveway, chefs hurried in and out of the kitchen, and the dining hall glittered with crystal glasses and golden cutlery. It was meant to be a night of elegance, a display of wealth and status. "Mama," Kelvin said that morning, his tone polite but firm, "I want you to supervise the chefs. You know how I like everything perfect. Please guide them." His mother smiled faintly, nodding. "Of course, my son. I will do my best." Nadia stood nearby, her lips pressed into a thin smile. Inside, her heart whispered, "Perfect. Tonight, I will finish her." Throughout the day, Kelvin's mother worked tirelessly, instructing the chefs with care. She checked the spices, tasted the soup, and ensured every dish carried the family's standard of excellence. The aroma of pepper soup, fried rice, and roasted chicken filled the mansion. Everything was flawless. But as evening fell and the guests began to arrive, Nadia slipped quietly into the kitchen. She waited until Kelvin's mother stepped out to check the dining hall. Then, with swift hands, she lifted the lid of the soup pot and poured in a handful of salt. Not once, but twice. She stirred quickly, her eyes shining with wicked satisfaction. "No one will suspect me," she whispered, "and when they suffer, all eyes will blame her." The dinner began with laughter and clinking glasses. Kelvin's rich friends praised the beauty of the mansion, admiring the gold chandeliers and polished marble floors. Nadia floated among them like a goddess, her gown shimmering under the lights. Kelvin's mother, tired but content, sat quietly, grateful that everything seemed to be in order. But soon the first cough was heard, then another. A guest touched his throat, his face twisting. Another dropped his spoon, clutching his stomach. Panic spread quickly across the table. "What is happening?" one of the businessmen groaned, pushing his plate away. "The food, it tastes strange." Within minutes, several guests were rushed out, holding their stomachs in agony. Cars screeched out of the compound, heading to the hospital. The laughter and glamour of the night dissolved into chaos. Kelvin's face turned red with fury. He slammed his hand on the table. "What is this embarrassment? My friends are sick, my reputation ruined." All eyes turned to his mother. After all, she had supervised the food. Nadia gasped dramatically, covering her mouth. "Oh no, Mama, how could this happen? You were with the chefs all day. Did you add too much salt by mistake?" Kelvin's head snapped toward his mother. "Mama, is this true? How could you let this happen?" His mother's lips parted in shock. "No, my son. I swear by God, I checked everything. I tasted it. The food was perfect." But her words fell on deaf ears. Kelvin's pride had been wounded in front of his wealthy friends. His eyes blazed with humiliation and anger, and in the corner, Nadia lowered her gaze to hide her wicked smile. The dining hall still smelled of spilt pepper soup and roasted chicken, but the glamour of the evening was gone. Kelvin paced back and forth like a lion in a cage, his fists clenched, his chest heaving with fury. His friends had been rushed to the hospital, and the shame of their sickness burned through his veins. His mother stood near the wall, her hands trembling, her eyes wide with pain. "My son," she whispered, "please believe me. I would never do this to you. I watched the food carefully. Someone tampered with it after I left the kitchen." But Kelvin's face twisted with rage. He pointed a finger at her, his voice sharp like thunder. "Enough excuses, Mama. Do you know how humiliated I am tonight? My name, my reputation, dragged into the mud because of you." She staggered back, tears streaming down her wrinkled cheeks. "Kelvin, I swear before God I am innocent. Please, my child, don't turn against me." Nadia stepped forward slowly, her face painted with false sorrow. "Darling, please, calm down. Don't be too harsh on Mama. She is old. Mistakes happen." Her words, gentle as honey, stung sharper than a blade. Kelvin's eyes filled with disappointment. He slammed his palm on the table. "No, this is the last straw. I cannot allow this anymore. Mama, you have brought me shame again and again. From today, you will no longer live here." The words crashed into the room like a storm. His mother gasped, her legs shaking. "Kelvin, no. You cannot mean this. I am your mother. Where will I go?" Kelvin's voice was cold, final. "There is an old people's home in Ikoyi. From tonight, you will stay there. The drivers will take you. You can no longer live under my roof." She fell to her knees, clutching his feet, just as Nadia once had. "My son, please, don't do this. Open your eyes. I beg you, listen to me. That woman is deceiving you. She will destroy everything you have worked for." But Kelvin pulled his legs away, his jaw tight. "Enough. My decision is final. You will leave this house tonight." The maids wept silently in the background, unable to bear the sight of their madam being thrown away by her only child. Nadia stood in the corner, her head bowed, her shoulders trembling as if she too was crying. But behind her lowered lashes, her lips curved into a slow, satisfied smile. She had won. She had taken everything, Kelvin's trust, his heart, his wealth, and turned him against the very woman who gave him life. Kelvin's mother rose weakly, her body heavy with grief. With one last look at her son, she whispered, "May God protect you, my child. One day you will see the truth." She walked out slowly, her steps echoing like thunder in the silent mansion. And Nadia, standing in the shadows, whispered to herself, "At last, victory." She thought she had won, but pride never ends in triumph. Pride is only the beginning of downfall. And life was watching, waiting for its moment. So what do you think? Will Kelvin ever open his eyes and see Nadia's true colors? Will his mother's prayers be answered before it's too late? Or will Nadia's pride finally destroy everything she has touched? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't just keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe to Roots of the African Tales for more powerful and emotional stories like this one.